Hey everyone, today we're diving into something that I think is a real game changer, especially for anyone in a caregiving role. It's called the 15-minute self-care rule, and it's a super practical way to find some breathing room when you feel like you have absolutely zero time for yourself.
Just let that sink in for a second. It's such a simple but powerful image, isn't it? It's completely unthinkable. You just wouldn't do it, pushing yourself to the absolute limit without the most basic, essential support. And that right there is the heart of the problem. We expect caregivers to run this intense, emotional, and physical marathon pretty much 24/7, but without any of the metaphorical water they need to keep going. It's an impossible ask.
So, this brings us to the real reason for caregiver burnout. And here's a spoiler, it's probably not what you think. It's not about a lack of caring. It is absolutely not a personal failure.
This is the key. You have to get this. Burnout happens because the way we think about self-care is, well, it's broken. We're told to take a break, but that feels like another huge, overwhelming thing on our to-do list. The system just isn't designed for small, sustainable wins.
And that broken system leads us straight into this psychological trap that gets so many of us. We can call it the all-or-nothing trap, and it's basically why our best intentions for taking care of ourselves just fizzle out. Sound familiar? I mean, we set the bar ridiculously high. We think, I need a perfect hour-long break, and that idea is so daunting that we just don't do it. Or I can't get to the gym, so we do nothing at all. This all-or-nothing mindset is a recipe for overwhelm which leads to avoidance. And the result? Zero. No self-care happens. Okay, so how do we actually break out of that cycle? This is where things get really good. We're going to pivot from the problem to a real, practical solution. Let's talk about the 15-minute rule.
So this whole idea is built on a professional technique called behavior chaining. It comes from the world of applied behavior analysis, or ABA. And all it is really is a way to link tiny, simple behaviors together to create a big automatic routine. The cool part is we can take this professional tool and turn it inward to build our own self-care habits.
So how do we do it? How do we actually make this work in real life? Well, it all boils down to a really simple 3-step guide for building your own self-care chain. Okay, here they are. First, you analyze the task. You just break it down into tiny pieces. Second, you set up a really clear cue that kicks the whole thing off. And third, this is crucial, you add an immediate reward to make that behavior stick. Let's break each of those down.
All right, step 1 is all about deconstruction. You take that giant, scary goal like, get more exercise, and you shrink it. You break it down. Maybe the first link in your chain is just put on your walking shoes. That's it. The next link is walk to the mailbox and back. You see? You've created a tiny, completable sequence, and that feeling of actually finishing something is everything.
Now, step 2 is about setting yourself up for a win. This is what behavior analysts call the antecedent. You basically rig your environment to make starting almost automatic. You put your shoes right by the door so you literally trip over them. You pick one specific chair to be your quiet zone. Seeing it acts as a visual reminder to just sit and breathe for 2 minutes. You're making that first step completely effortless. And this, right here, illustrates the final and maybe most important step, the consequence. Look at the difference. If you finish your little walk and then tell yourself, okay, now I must go clean the kitchen, you're actually punishing the very habit you're trying to build. But if you reward it, I walked, so now I get to listen to my favorite podcast for 10 minutes, you're telling your brain, hey, that was awesome, let's do that again tomorrow.
And that's how you build real momentum. A tiny action leads to that little buzz of success. That success gets reinforced by a small reward, which then builds your motivation to do it again next time. It's this amazing positive feedback loop that slowly but surely rebuilds your sense of control.
Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's talk about how you can take this idea and put it into practice, like today. Here's your action plan. Okay, right now just think, what's your biggest self-care challenge? Is it getting a moment of peace? Let's break it down. Step 1, walk to the porch. Step 2, take 3 deep breaths. Step 3, walk back inside. Done. Now pick your cue. Right after I finish the breakfast dishes, and then pick your reward. I get to have that special cup of tea. That's it. That's your chain. You just built one.
And please, let's be super clear about this. The goal here is to let go of perfection. We're not trying to find some magical, uninterrupted hour. The goal is to find and protect 15 times effective minutes. That's doable.
And because it's doable, it actually works.
Okay, but I can hear some of you thinking it right now, and it's a completely fair question. What if even 15 minutes feels like a total fantasy, an impossible luxury? The answer is so simple. Start smaller. Seriously. Start with 5 minutes. Start with 1 minute. Here's the secret. Your brain doesn't really register the duration. It registers the feeling of completion. Finishing one tiny microchain is way more powerful for building momentum than just dreaming about a big one you never start.
So you might still be a little skeptical. I get it. Can these tiny little habits, these little chains, really make a dent in something as massive and overwhelming as burnout?
And the answer is a very confident yes. The research actually backs this up. Studies show that these kinds of behavior change techniques are proven to help people be more consistent with self-care and, over time, actually lower their stress levels. So this isn't just a nice idea. It's a small tool that has a big, scientifically backed impact.
And I want to leave you with this idea. Resilience, it isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something you build. You build it brick by brick, one small action at a time. And these little chains of success, those are the bricks. They are the foundation for rebuilding your strength, one 5-minute victory at a time.